Hello, Washington. I'm Corey with the Washington Civil Rights Association. Today, we're here to talk about the three bills that have moved out of the House and are headed to the Senate for public hearings. These bills would ban so-called ghost guns, ban guns at a variety of public meetings and ballot counting sites, as well as remove sentencing enhancements for the use of guns in criminal acts. I'm going to dive into the meat of each of these bills here shortly, but if you are already familiar with them and want to oppose any or all of them, we have made it easy to do so. There are direct links below to either sign in to provide live testimony, submit written testimony, or simply note your position for the record. For each of these, please choose con if you oppose. Also, please enter your position accurately and do so only once. That being said, let's move on into the details of each of these bills. The first one on the list is ESHB 1705, Untraceable Weapons, or Ghost Guns. The bill was originally justified by both citing information from the ATF proposed rule 2021R-05 and misrepresenting that data. I submitted written testimony to this effect. The author of the bill inexcusably rounded the 7,161 recovered untraceable firearms to 10,000. They ignored an article from The Trace from May of 2019 that is used in citation 17 from the ATF proposed rule, where both congressional and ATF sources stated that the data isn't documented on a national scale. They also failed to recognize that the 325 homicides or attempted homicide recoveries from 2016 to 2020 make up less than half of 1% of the 76,062 homicides reported in the FBI uniform crime reports for that same time frame. While I personally haven't been able to secure the total number of attempted homicides, it clearly means that the percentage drops even further. What is less clear is whether or not the firearms recovered had serial numbers removed, which is already illegal, or if they were truly firearms manufactured at home for personal use. The justification for this bill was so atrocious that Democratic Representative Liz Berry from the 36th introduced an amendment to strike all of Section 1, which was adopted and was the only amendment that was adopted, and the rest of the bill went through unchanged. This legislation is being pushed through even though it directly conflicts with the centuries-old practice of making your own firearms for personal use, which is entirely congruent with the right to keep and bear arms. The effect of this bill is that any firearm you or a family member has manufactured for your own personal use anytime after 1968 is going to be made illegal to own or possess, regardless of whether it was built from scratch or made from 80% parts. There is no grandfathering, and if passed, you will have until March 10th of 2023 to either forfeit or destroy firearms that you or your family have made for personal use in the last 55 years. Next, let's talk about ESHB 1630. By amendment, this bill is now a combination of HB 1630 and HB 1618. Before getting too far into this, I need to give credit where credit is due. Both of those bills were just seriously flawed. I provided in-person testimony on House Bill 1618 and written testimony on House Bill 1630. And many of the major flaws that these bills had were addressed before moving forward. Again, I'm not sure if it was my testimony alone that was what caused the changes to be made, but I appreciate that they were put into place. That being said, we still can't support ESHB 1630. The bill still has disparate impact on low-income parents who wish to participate in their children's education and are utilizing public transportation to attend school board meetings. These parents have to choose between being able to defend themselves, not only for their sake, but in order to be able to ensure that they are there to provide for their family. If lockboxes were provided in these locations where meetings are being held, that would go a long way to addressing many concerns about the issue. More broadly, the bill also bans open carry of firearms at city and municipality meetings and hearings. Again, the availability of lockboxes would go a long way to addressing these concerns. We know that obtaining a CPL has been difficult, if not impossible, since COVID kicked in. And with our governor's policies around it, there's just no end in sight to that. Lastly, let's talk about ESHB 1169 regarding sentencing enhancements related to firearms. This bill is just most certainly the wrong way to go. I simply cannot reconcile what is happening in the legislature right now. They continue to introduce new laws that turn law-abiding citizens like you and me into criminals, while simultaneously pushing to reduce penalties for actual violent criminals. This bill only serves to erode public safety. This bill, along with House Bill 1692, which would reduce penalties for drive-by shootings, which thankfully hasn't moved forward this session. These bills are touted to promote equity in our communities, but I fail to see how either bill actually achieves that goal. This bill is a cop-out. Instead of addressing the root cause of these issues that underlie the crime that is taking place, or being accountable and taking responsibility for the past by introducing meaningful reform in these same communities, we are only paying lip service to the broader issues while simultaneously making our communities more dangerous. If you made it this far into the video, firstly, I want to say thank you. Secondly, I want to say that now is the time to act. Sign in to help oppose these bills that will have zero positive impact on crime and will have a huge impact on your ability to defend your life and your loved ones. If you are able, please leave a written testimony as well. We've had some truly amazing testimonies in recent weeks from the BIPOC community talking about the disproportionate impact of many of these gun control bills on them and their communities. And we stand side by side with them. If you're a member of the BIPOC or LGBTQ community and want to have your voice be heard, we are always looking for additional people to help deliver a live Zoom testimony to the legislature. Please feel free to reach out to us. We are more than happy to share our platform with you. Finally, know this. We support the right of all people to keep and bear arms. This is regardless of race, religion, national origin, sex, gender identity, or any other qualifying factor that, quite frankly, I'm just too ignorant to speak to. The message here is that if you are human, we support your right to keep and bear arms. Thanks for checking in, and I hope you have a good one. Take care.